Hello, welcome to Too Fast, Too Forever. There's all kinds of family. We chose this one. This is episode 193, Mad Max, Fury Road. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe too, and this episode's brought to you by Jacob's Gas. Southwest Florida, locally owned. They give their best on every job because their reputation is on the line with every job. Jacob's Gas.
Well, do they have gasoline is the question.
I didn't ask if they have gasoline, but maybe they can order it. I think it might be like a custom order or something.
Well, as you can hear on this episode, we're talking about Fury Road because F9, as we're recording this, is not out on VOD yet. So we're flip-flopping this week and next week. You, dear sweet listener, have no idea what we're going to talk about in the future. Because like there's a system to this. But nothing else changed. But we're going to do F9 with Karen next episode next week, and we're just doing Fury Road today. And starting this Friday, actually, as you're listening to this now, F9 is out on VOD. So if you want to watch it at home, you can, which is very exciting. But right now, Fury Road. But Joe, extracurricular activities, what have you been up to since we last spoke?
I have been watching a ton of the Olympics. I really like watching the Olympics. Have you been watching any?
I have not watched a single second of the Olympics.
Oh, really? Why? Are you
not an Olympics
I don't know. Guy?
I usually am. I don't think that they should be happening right now. I'm just not interested. I'm just not invested. And I feel like if I started watching, I would, but I'm also not watching the Yankees right now either. Like, I feel like the Yankees have soured me on sports because they're just not great to watch right now. And they're also frustrating off the field. So it's fine.
I've been watching a lot of the Olympics, and right now it's like, an NBC product. So they have it on NBC. But USA plays the best versions of the Olympics. So it runs on NBC, and NBC usually gets swimming, right? Like gymnastics. That's what normal NBC has. There's NBCSN, and that gets basketball, the second tier ones. But USA has fencing, badminton, table tennis, men's volleyball. So I've been watching a lot of those ones. That's my favorite part of the Olympics, is watching all of these smaller sports.
I mean, I think they're all also streaming in Peacock, which I think you have, right? So I think if you just go in the Peacock app...
That's no fun. It needs to be on a channel that changes it for me. I don't want to pick the sport. I looked at, they have that on Sling too, and they're like, do you want to watch table tennis? And I'm like, not really. I want to watch a mix of everything that just is selected, curated for me, of the Americans playing different weird sports. I've been doing a lot of that, watching Love Island, normal bullshit nonsense, all my stupid shows. We watched the first new episode of season 2 of Ted Lasso. It was really good. Did you watch it yet?
I did, yep.
Yeah, and it was really good, so we were like, good job, continue along that way. And the last thing that I did/watched was we watched the new Space Jam.
Oh, okay.
Did you watch it yet?
No.
I saw your tweet before, from a couple weeks ago, that was you feel like you'd be the only one that would like this, considering how bad everybody says it is.
Yeah.
And that's usually true. But Rachel and I really enjoyed it. It's exactly what you'd expect. A Space Jam sequel made 20 years later starring LeBron James is. Right?
Yeah, I feel like how people are describing it, I'm like, this isn't going to bother me. I don't think it's going to be good, but I mean, I don't think that, the things that annoy people about it, like product placement or crossovers or whatever, I'm not going to be oh, I don't care. I remember
that was actually the best part for us.
I imagine.
Because it's a lot of IP that's being shown in the background. Rachel and I were spotting all the different things. We're like, oh, look, it's, whatever character and this kind of stuff. But generally, LeBron's not an actor. Big surprise. Other than that, it was how are you going to make a story that is Space Jam but not exactly Space Jam? And they pretty much did that. So, yeah, I'm happy with it.
Well, it's on HBO Max for, I think, a couple more. I think it came out the 16th, so
yeah,
I might watch it, or I might just wait 3 or 4 months until it comes back on HBO. If I don't get to it now, I'm not in a rush to get to it now.
You shouldn't be. It's not
the cultural conversation around Space Jam. I'm not missing it or anything, right?
No, absolutely not. But when you do watch it, I really think that you're going to be like, yeah, that was exactly what I expected, right?
Exactly. Anything else of note, or just watching stuff?
Yeah, pretty much just watching stuff. How about you?
Cool. Let's see here. This past weekend, Bob came over, did another lottery pod on Friday night, which would be episode 6. As this comes out, that was episode 7. Because episode 5 is out now as this comes out. So if you want to listen to that, it's the episode that just came out is about our best book, probably the entire season. This book called The Prayer for Owen Meany, which is just remarkable, and the episode was really good, and one of our longer ones just because it was a longer book and a great book. So check that out, please, and thank you. He and I took a trip to get some burgers at that burger place that I found recently that I really like, and we then came back and recorded the podcast. And then on Sunday, he and I and our friend Tom, also in our Fantasy Baseball League, went to an Ethiopian restaurant in Montclair. Ooh. Have you ever had Ethiopian food?
So there is an Ethiopian food truck. I've told you about the food trucks that sit outside my work, right?
Yeah.
So there's an Ethiopian food truck. So I've had Ethiopian food only from that food truck. Based on the people that are serving it out of the truck, I think it's very authentic, but I don't know. So I've only ever experienced it like that. Never been to a restaurant, but how was it?
Well, it was good. So I don't know what the experience would be like in a food truck, but the way that it's served is that there's basically a big platter. Like they either do family style or individual, and there's a big platter, and
you get this bread.
The plate is the injera. Yeah, it's the bread. Yeah. And you rip it off and you just pick it up. Like there's no utensils, there's no napkins. Like the bread is just all of that, right?
Yep.
This place has like a protein and 2 vegetables, like 2 sides, and I had that, and it was good. It was really good. And there's always the like, how spicy do you want to go in other cultures' foods for when you're just a white boy who I like some spice, but like I want medium and it was good. I feel like going spicy would have been too much, but medium was a good spice, which I enjoyed. Cool. But I had a really good time. It was a good meal. I've never had Ethiopian before, and I also had Ethiopian coffee, which was very good. I remember the only other like real cultural coffee that I've ever had is when we went to get Turkish food where you were living. Yeah. And we got Turkish coffee, which was really good too.
I love Turkish coffee. Yeah. I'm a big Justin Kleiman too. Our fan Justin Kleiman. He's a big coffee head. I'm a big coffee head in the sense that like if I can try different coffees, I usually do it. I like Ethiopian coffee as well. I'm a big fan. When we were in Greece, we kept ordering espressos, and like in Italy, espresso was at the time like €1, like 1.25. And we went to Greece, and all of a sudden, like, espressos were like $2.50. And we were like, something fucking broken here because we're not far away.
Right.
So we're like, what are we doing wrong? So like, we finally we got like espressos at one place, and we went to the next place, and we're like, just give us a coffee. And they were like, okay, cool. Turkish coffee, 1.25. We were like, that's what it was.
Right. Yeah, like this place also advertises like American coffee. I'm like, I don't want that. I want the actual thing, because like on the menu there's like the Ethiopian coffee, and then there's like a whole like a paragraph like 150 words of like explaining the process. I'm like, oh, if you need to explain, like if there's this much background and history and information about like how you make your coffee and why it matters, like I want that. So
exactly. Cool. Good.
But then after we had Ethiopian food, I swung by a friend of the show, Melissa Lynham's house, and we did the crossword in person. We normally do that remotely, cool. But we did the Sunday crossword, and then she and her boyfriend were there. Did that, and then I left. I was just like, okay, I'm going to crossword and leave. So I left, and I said goodbye to her boyfriend.
How do you do that? How do you do the crossword were you both just doing it on your phone sitting next to each other?
No. I logged into her laptop. Like normally what we do is we do it over Skype, where I just do it on my laptop and I screen share my Skype, and then we chat on GChat. It's a very complicated system that we've done more than 1,000 times. Like we're on a 1,080-ish day streak. And so we just do it that way, and then we do it in person. So yeah, it was good. Because we just she just helps me on my account or whatever. Like we do it together on my account. Like we don't both do it separately. So, it was good. Oh, I also want to say, of note, not to what I did, but today, Friday, for patrons, I'm going to start referring to today as Friday, the day it comes out. How This Get Made is covering F9, and also on the most recent Comedy Bang Bang on this past Monday, Scott Aukerman did like a kind of an extended rant about, not rant, but like an extended bit about F9 too. So F9 Fever still in the air. Cool. So Fast and Furious out there. I just wanted to mention that while I had it on my brain. But then in terms of watching things, I watched all 3 Fear Street movies on Netflix. Did you watch any of those? Did you and Rachel watch any of those?
No, because I saw how mad Kate was about them and how
excited did you read Fear Street growing up or no?
No.
Neither did I. I read Goosebumps, yeah.
Goosebumps, yep, that was me.
So their takeaway, because I watched these earlier than I would otherwise, because I listen to every episode of High School Slumber Party, and Brian and Kate did all 3 of these, and I have no history with the books. They were like, they seemed to, their takeaway on the episode was that if you're a Fear Street fan, you're not going to like them. If you're a horror fan, you're really going to like them. And I thought that they were just fine. They were more, like they're R-rated and they're like have some cool grisly kills, which I was sort of surprised by. But overall, they were just kind of okay. But
you're a super horror fan. I think that like you even are like in a separate category where like you're not a normal horror fan.
Brian has talked to people who are super horror fans and they really liked it and they were talking about how transcendent it was, and I'm just like, that's not it. Like it's good, but it's not great.
Okay.
But I think they might be kind of in the sweet spot where you and Rachel could like them, but also like with everything out there to watch, I don't know that you need to, but I watched those 3.
Makes sense.
And then I watched a double feature of new releases, one on HBO Max, one on Hulu. I watched No Sudden Move, which is the new Soderbergh movie. We covered all those for Cinemakers, and that's great.
Cool.
It's kind of a, not like a heist. I don't even know how to describe. I guess it's like a crime thriller that kind of goes wrong because that's how just most of his things go. But that was really good. And then I watched Plan B, which is kind of both a Booksmart knockoff, but also way more than Booksmart was, which is about 2 girls trying to get... So,
what do you mean by way more than Booksmart was?
So Booksmart is great, but Booksmart is also about 2 privileged white girls, kind of, right? Like this is about different groups and different, like it's going for different things, and it's about basically taking a road trip. It's kind of like that movie that came out last year that was super, super heavy, that I watched and really liked, and Brian covered on his podcast with Island, called Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always, where 2 girls went from Pennsylvania to New York City to get an abortion. This is about just they're trying to find. It's great. I mean, not every movie has to be fun.
No, I know. I was just kidding. It's all good.
I know. But this is just 2 high school girls in South Dakota trying to get a Plan B pill for one of them because she fears that she might be pregnant. Okay. And it's a comedy, but it's also heavy about, the state of all that stuff today. Yeah. But it's great, and it's wonderful. And the 2 actors, the lead actors, I've never seen them before. I don't know where they cast these 2 women, but they are both wonderful. And so I was like, Brian, you and Island should cover this on your show. He's like, we have a plan. I was like, well, it's like a winter, late fall, early winter movie. So like, if you want to do it like thematically, you can do it, because they only do that like mini series with Island once a month. So like, if they do it like October, November, it would track. It would be good. And then I watched Tig Notaro, who's one of my favorite comedians, has a new special also on HBO Max called Tig Notaro Drawn, where it's all animated. And I don't know if this was because of the pandemic or not, because she's like interacting with, like, you can hear her doing crowd work. And so I don't know, not really crowd work, but like talking to the crowd and reacting to the crowd. So it feels like she did it in person, but maybe it was like separated and like, people were masked and like she didn't want to I don't know what the origin, the inception was. It was great because she's wonderful, and the special was really good too. So that was really good. In other things that you won't like, the book that I'm reading right now for How to Win the Lottery is 1,000 pages, and it's all one sentence.
Does it use lots of I like a lot of commas in the middle of my sentences.
There's all sorts of commas. It's literally all commas, and it's like it's all the internal monologue of just a woman thinking, basically, for 1,000 pages. It's difficult to get through, but it's really good, and it's also sometimes funny. But yeah, Duck's Newberry Port by Lucy Ellman, 1,030 pages, and it's all one sentence.
I am a huge comma whore, so I can tone that book based on the use of long sentences and many commas.
Yeah, it's really good though. I mean, it's also I am, drum roll please, 210 pages in, so I got a lot more miles to go before I sleep. But
you do.
Shout out to Ducks Newberry Port. We have a Patreon page, Too Fast, TooForever.com. Shout out to Cassie Wilson, Jake Freer, Ben Milliman, Nick Burris, Alex Ellen, and Justin Kleiman, and Brian Rodriguez of High School Slumber Party, Haley Gerbies, Wes Hampton, Christian Larson, Jerry Robinson, Dan the Duke Hayden, Renato DiDonato, Michael McGann, and Jessica Collins, a.k.a. Montez. Thank you all for supporting the $5 a month level or above. Like we said last time, we're about halfway through this lap-ish, and so we're a little bit under that. But, if you join at the $10 a month tier, you get a pick for either this lap, maybe more likely next lap, and also next year. So now is a great time to sign up, get early access to every episode, get some swag and merchandise, handwritten letters, all sorts of fun stuff at Too Fast. TooForever.com. We also have an email address, family@cageclub.me, and we have 3 or 4 emails that I'm going to read.
Okay.
First off, meet new $1 patron, meet Juhi Kimani. So she joined us last time and then signed up to be a $1 patron. She messaged me on Friday, not Friday. On Monday, laughing about the episode. I'm like, I love that you joined. She's like, no, I just want to, I want to respect the hustle $1 a month at a time. I was like, well, thank you so much. So,
Very cool. Thank you.
Shout out to Juhi. Yeah.
Thank you, Juhi, a lot.
She was on our Fast 5 episode.
Great. I like Juhi a lot.
She's a delight.
I didn't want to say this to her, like, because it might have sounded a little creepy, but she has a great voice. You know?
Yeah.
It's just like a really comforting voice to me. So yeah, I was thinking that the whole episode. I was just like lost in her voice. I think it's really nice.
Well, it was one of those things where, like, every time we have a new guest on the show, and, like, lately I feel like, in the pandemic specifically, people have been better about, like, they all have microphones, they all whatever. Yeah. But, like, years ago, when we were doing Zack Attack, or Mike and I were doing Cage Club or Keanu Club or whatever, we'd have people on, like, it was a real shit show. Like, it was a grab bag of, like, what are you going to sound like? Like, are you going to be good on the show? But also, like, are we going to be able to understand you? And I remember the first time, like, even, Cruise Club, when we were doing this, a year or two ago, whatever, it was still like, early pandemic or whatever. And I remember her coming on and like, I was like, oh no, like you sound clear and you have a great, I was just like, and she was like wonderful and like with it. And I'm just like, okay, cool. It was one of those where it's just like, I was nervous. I think she was nervous or whatever. And it's just like, oh no, everything's fine. Everything is really good.
I love when that happens. I'm sure you guys hear that happen a lot for us. Like we just like start and we're like, yeah, okay.
Oh boy.
Ooh, good.
Yeah. Our first email from Wells Lamont, subject line F stuff. I guess like fast stuff, furious stuff. I don't know. Or just fuck stuff. I don't know.
Fuck stuff. Fuck stuff up.
Dom and Han have their little heartfelt back and forth at the beginning of 4, and they cheers with their beers, and they're not Coronas. You can only see the tip, which is always the best part anyway, but the bottles are green.
Yeah, I think this was, they have that beer in other places too. We were like, oh, that's like the local beer, and it's not Corona. But in 4, they're in Mexico, are they?
Yeah, but this is where the heist is in the Dominican, so maybe they're in the Dominican Republic.
Yes.
Maybe it's DR year. I don't know. It's funny hearing Dom called Brian O'Connor for the first time. He was Brian for the entire first one, or Spillner, and Dom calls him each name for different reasons, I feel like.
Yeah. That is
first time you see Brian smile in 4 is when they bring up the big screen with all the cars for him to choose for Braga's race. He lights up with joy in what has been a very serious and dark movie so far.
Yes.
Yeah. Phoenix is a terrible villain or sidekick or whatever he is. That poo face he always makes is so lame it pisses me off.
He does look a little constipated. He has some Kristen Stewart going on there sometimes.
The gag reels in 4 are so funny. When Brian's driving with Braga, I was dying. We haven't done these yet. It's kind of a different side of Paul and Vin that we don't usually see even in other gag reels. Nothing major, just some good old-fashioned humor amongst bros.
I bet that they had fun. I think who plays Braga? Do you know the actor's name?
John Ortiz.
John Ortiz, just based on like the Weasley characters he plays, I think that he would actually be a really fun person in person.
I feel like lately what I've seen him in are things where he's trying to be more upstanding and then like collapses in on that, like because he kind of gets typecast or whatever, but he's like trying to break free. They're like, okay, we're gonna let you go a little bit further, but then like you're still gonna be kind of a scumbag. It's like, oh no.
Yeah.
Poor guy. Starting on 5F as Joey did is a crazy place to begin your fast venture. I know you've touched on it before, but what was your initial thought? What were you thinking during the opening scene? It'd be confusing, at least a little bit. Well,
it's an action movie.
It's an action movie. I thought it was going to be a bad movie because I was watching it for How Does It Get Made, and I was like, I don't think this is bad. Like, I don't know what this is yet, but I think this is good. And then I listened to the episode, like, by the end of the movie, I was sold on it, whatever. And then when I listened to the episode, they're like, oh, no, this is great. And I was like, oh, okay, good. Like, I wasn't wrong.
Not that you would have been wrong, but just, like, you didn't perceive this in a different way than them.
Right. Like, I mean, so if you think about it, like, I'm still watching Bond, and I watched the second Pierce Brosnan movie, and it was good. It wasn't, it was a step down from GoldenEye for sure, but I still enjoyed it because it's 90s action. But, like, every Bond movie starts with just, like, an action scene that kind of means nothing. Like, it's just, like, a big action scene. Like, a lot of the Fast and Furious movies, too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then you find out what the movie's about. And so them breaking Dom out, I don't think it's crazy for it to be a first movie because so much of it is new. Like, they break Dom out, but, like, it could just be people we don't know breaking out their leader or whatever, and then they're on the run. Like, that's what the movie's about. So I don't think it's that crazy. I mean, it's weird, maybe, but I don't think it's that crazy.
I think it's easily accessible because, like, it starts like an action movie, right? Like, you don't need to watch the first bunch of Mission Impossibles to get a Mission Impossible. You don't need to watch the first Fast and Furious to get a Fast and Furious, especially 5 that starts in the middle of an action. You're like, oh yeah, cool, this is just an action movie that starts in an action sequence. Yep. I bet other people get it. I'm missing some stuff, but it still works. So
How long is it in between the Dom bus escape and Brian and Mia meeting up with Vince in Rio? Vince mentions he hasn't seen Dom in a couple weeks, and when Brian asks him why he chose Rio, Vince tells him about his free fall through Mexico and South America, making it seem like a long time. Breaking Dom out was immediately after 4, so why did everyone split up, and was it months or years from the end of 4 until the beginning of 5?
We talked about this because you have to factor in like court dates and stuff, right? Like that stuff doesn't go quickly. So we see Dom in court.
Well, we don't know where Vince went after because Vince is not in 2, 3, or 4. So, like, that timeline is totally separate, too. You know what I mean?
Also true. Also very, very true. Yeah, we talked about this a little bit on the episode that, like, how did Vince get out of the hospital? How did he get from the helicopter to Mexico?
My guess, and I've never really thought about this, is that, they break Dom out, and they're all wanted. They're on the TV and whatever. They're like, these are, the most wanted criminals, most wanted fugitives, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I would imagine Dom traveling solo can probably go a little bit faster, gets to Rio and sees Vince or whatever, and then Brian and Mia maybe have more loose ends because, like, Dom was in prison, right? Like, even if he, was getting transferred to a different prison or whatever, like, he was still in the system. So it's not like he had, like, things to pack or whatever, right? Like, he was just, like, he could just go. Brian and Mia probably have to, like, there's probably more loose ends to tie up. So, I mean, they're not going to be, like, wildly behind Dom. But I can see Dom
also,
getting
there's
to
two of
Rio
them,
first.
Right? There's two of them. So anything that they do, they're just going to naturally be slower.
So I think that Dom just gets to Rio first, lays low. They get to Rio, meet up with Vince. Vince is like, oh, yeah, I just saw Dom a couple weeks ago or whatever. I've asked this question probably 5 times and I never remember. How does Dom know Elena when he says, I already know who you are? He's talking metaphorically. He doesn't actually know her.
Yes. Yeah. He doesn't mean that he actually knows that. He's just like, I know what kind of person you are.
Vince doesn't interact or even see anyone from 2, 3, or 4, right? Correct. And thinking about it now, it's weird that they didn't bring Vince back in 4. Do you think it was plot related or real life related? Well, I think there was a conscious effort to make it simple, like to really streamline 4.
Yes. Like we talked about, like the Justin Lin kind of planning. I think that although he only did 3, when he did 4, he's like, he had a future projections in his head. Maybe whether or not he admits this, whether or not I don't think he knew that they were going to let him do 5 or 6 or whatever. But I think that in his mind, he's like, I'm going to build this to put blocks in place that I can go from. So, yes, I think I agree with your conscious effort to streamline it as quick as possible.
What's the best scene in the entire franchise, and what's your favorite scene in the franchise? I think the safe getaway at the end of 5 is the best scene, but I'm not sure what my favorite is. Letty saving P Walks in 7 was pretty badass. Do you have a pick for either best or favorite?
I think best and favorite for me gotta be Brian handing Dom the keys at the end of 1.
Okay.
Like, I mean, like, there's a lot of great moments, but I think that, like, that, I owed you a 10-second call, you know what I mean? That's, like, top tier. Because that's, like, the kickoff of it. But
yeah.
If I thought more, I mean, we've talked about a lot of great scenes and scenes that I love in these movies, but that has to be like the most iconic one to me as well. Iconic to, shout out High School Slumber Party there.
Sure.
What about you?
I think favorite would probably be cracking a safe in Danza Kuduro.
Yeah,
maybe.
You do mention that a lot. I think.
I also think it's up there, and I don't want it to sound blasphemous, but I think Hattie's introduction is one of my favorite scenes because I think it's so cool and so fresh, and that's how it kicks off a movie, right? I think that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Best, I don't know. Like, I have a problem with best, and this is not me like clapping back at Wells, but like, and I know this isn't necessarily right, but I feel like in my head sometimes, best means that it is undoubtedly the best. And so, like, if there's the best scene, it's something that everybody would agree, like, that's the best thing. So, like, it's not really fun or anything to me, because it's just like, oh, yeah, that's the best one, or whatever. That's why I always say, like, my favorite movies of the year, my favorite this, or my favorite that, because it's just like, it's what matters to me, right?
Exactly, yeah, it's from your perspective always, yeah.
Last year for the Best Picture nominees, I do think Nomadland was the best movie of the bunch, but, like, my favorite was probably Promising Young Woman or whatever, right? Like, there's, like, a difference
fair
there.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's best whatever. Like, it's just whatever. I don't know what best would be. I mean, technically best in terms of plotting. I do think that 5 is the best movie. I think that it works cohesively as a movie really well.
As a
film, it's fun. Yeah. And, like, I think 4 is also a good, I've come around a little bit on 4. I think 4 is also the streamlined nature of it all. I don't know. I think best is hard.
What scene do you think that people think is the best scene, then?
Best by what metric, though?
best, whatever metric you want to use, just in your own words. Like if people, like, you know, if you asked 20 people, like, what do you think the best scene in the Fast and the Furious is, what do you think they would say?
I would guess that people would answer that by saying, like, the craziest scene.
Okay.
Like, the best action scene. So I think it would be either jumping cars out of the plane in 7, or the runway scene in 6, or dragging the stage through Rio, the streets of Rio in 5.
Okay.
I'm guessing that if people say, what's the best scene in a Fast and Furious movie, I would imagine that their brain, the average person's brain, would go to...
Craziest stunt.
Yeah. I don't know if that's true or not, but I think that's how I would interpret other people's interpretations of that question, I think.
I think for our fans, a lot of the best scene would be like the most family-oriented, emotionally driven scene. Because I think that you would get a lot of the like end of 7 Paul Walker Dom split scene as the best scene in the movies.
And that's why I think, you know, the Danza Kuduro scene, the end scene in 9, like the family barbecues at the end of movies, like those are just like where it's closure, and it's unique in that way because other movies don't have like a lot of movies just kind of end, like even Hobbs and Shaw just ends like the action's over, they're just like walk away, right, or whatever, they're just making jokes. But like with these, and I don't know if it's good or not, like I don't know objectively, again, who cares, but like I don't know if it's good that they do this, but it's wonderful and it's unique that just like, hey, the movie's over, but we're gonna have a barbecue. It's just like, oh, okay.
It's a great way. You know what? Sometimes I like when I watch like random movies, you know, there's many times that we'll be talking about a movie that we watched for this, and I'm like, man, I had to pause and be like, shit, there's still 30 minutes of this movie left. You never have that thought in Fast and the Furious. Because unless there's a barbecue, you still got time. So that's what, it's just like a perfect bookmark at the end there.
6 is the second time they use the reading the brochure line. 3F is obviously the first.
Oh, yeah. He can read the brochure.
Why are they in Cuba at the beginning of 8 again? I think he was on vacation, right? Dom and Letty?
Visiting his cousin. Yeah. Kind of hiding out. No extradition from Cuba.
The reason they're shooting there is because Cuba opened its borders and Dom and Vin Diesel was just like, I want to shoot there.
Yes.
But I think they're just like on vacation, just, hanging out with the cousin or whatever, right?
Yeah, he apparently has family there, like we said, cousin. So, just vacation and seeing some old peoples that we couldn't see before the borders were open.
When the agent comes to Hobbs at the soccer game, pretty much begging him to, this is an 8 now, begging him to take this case, it's strange how he goes about it. He's asking him, not telling him, and pretty much says, this is serious, can you please take this case? We need you, and if you fuck up and things go south, you don't get burnt, you go to prison. So what do you say, partner? Are you down? It's kind of strange.
I think that that's more of like a character thing, that Hobbs is so imposing that he asks, because although he might be his superior, Hobbs is the more imposing guy, and that's why it comes across like this.
But I think it's just like, because he's like, hey, you don't have to do this. We want you to do this. But if you do it and you fail, it's not like you're just going to be in trouble, like you're going to go to prison. It's like, it's a big ask, it's a big risk for a thing that like he's not saying you have to do.
But I think that's playing into his nature. Like, he knows at that point he's like, I can definitely do it. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way I'm going to go to jail. So he's kind of like baiting him a little bit. So, I'm
not going to mess up. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The wrecking ball into the cops was a pretty epic getaway plan with the smiley face on it for some flair. Was a nice touch. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, gone in 60 seconds too, right?
And then he says, what are your thoughts on Cipher in 8 compared to 9? And I think we've talked about it a little bit. Just, it's still too early to tell. I think she's still like a work in progress.
It's a little bit better, though.
In 9?
A little bit. A little tiny bit. You get like more of her own personality, her being more commanding, and like seeing her play chess with multiple people, because she has like Jacob and Otto, as opposed to just like forcing Dom with the baby. She's kind of using like a psychological warfare type situation. So in that sense, I like it a little bit better.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
And that was the end of his email. Thank you, Wells, for writing in.
Thank you, Wells.
Our next email from Jake, subject line, new rankings.
Oh, okay.
Hey, guys, since you've had some new rankings recently, I thought I would do mine. It may be a bit controversial, from worst to best.
Worst to best, okay.
So Jake had sent it in after Hobbs and Shaw. I don't remember the last time he sent these in, but we have 9 ranked for him, and he has in last place 8. Oh, he also ranks the extra ones. Okay, so I don't have official numbers for like Los Bandoleros and Turbocharged Prelude, but they were in here as well. So, but like in last place, 8F, and he does the F scale, just like Wells created. Okay. 8F in last place, which is what it was.
Perfect.
Then he has Los Bandoleros, which feels low.
Feels very low and feels very weird because Mad Max Fury Road felt like Los Bandoleros, and it could have just like intertwined.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Then he has 4F, which was pretty low for him before, slid down 1.
Okay.
Then he has Hobbs and Shaw, which slid down a little bit, but 8 is on the lower end for Hobbs and Shaw for sure.
Okay.
Then he has 2F, which I think moved up a little bit, but not too much.
Okay.
Then he has Turbocharged Prelude, which is very high. He says, I know it's like a music video and everyone hates it, but I love it. The instrumental that plays is so good to me anyways. Well, okay. Sure.
That's cool. Yeah, that's fine.
Then he has 7F,
Okay.
which I think fell a little bit. Then 6F, which is in the same, like right in the middle. Then 9F in 4th. 3F in 3rd. 5F in 2nd. And the first one in the 1st. Oh, wait, no. Actually, sorry. He flipped these. He's got 1 in the 2 spot and 5 in the 1 spot, which flipped. So that is a pretty, not a big swing, but an important swing. So he's got from top down 5, 1, then 3. So cool.
Nice. Cool. Yeah, and 9 is pretty high. See, I think that's where everybody's like top third, right? It's like the bottom of the top third. What it feels like.
Wait, say that again? 9 is the bottom of the top third.
Yes, that's what I said.
I heard what you said, but like I didn't understand it as language, so I was just like, I don't know what this means.
I didn't know how to describe it, but like fourth, like it's like you know what I mean? Like it's more than the top half, less than the top third. That's what it feels like. It's been ranked a lot, like right around 4, 5, 3.
Yeah, we have it right now, the average ranking, and we have how many people have ranked it? We have 10 people who have ranked it, and the average is a 4.9, which has it below Fast and Furious. The first one has it below 1, 3, 5, 6, and 7, but above everything else. So I'd say it's in the middle. I would say it depends. Yeah, I mean, Juhi having it at 9 kind of brings it down a little bit, but for most people, it's the 3, 4, 5 range.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, cool.
Commonly referred to as the bottom of the top third.
In colloquial English,
Jesus
bottom of the top third. Sounds about right, yeah.
Does it look forward to your next episode where I inevitably get roasted for liking the turbocharged prelude? Well,
no, not really.
I mean, it's crazy, but, we're not going to roast you.
Yeah, exactly.
And also I get so triggered when you guys talk about In-N-Out versus Whataburger, because in South Australia we have Carl's Jr., and that's about it, and that's a pretty bad thing, not going to lie. Well, yeah, okay. Yeah.
We have Carl's Jr. here, too, and Carl's Jr. at Hardee's is the same thing, right?
Yep, it's just regionally what it's called, yes.
That's so fucking stupid.
It says, we might be getting a Five Guys soon, but I highly doubt it. Anywhere, take care, guys. And then he also sent in a car picture separately, which we will do on a future episode. Not going to do it today, but cool. Thank you, Jake, for writing in.
Thank you, Jake, for writing in. Thanks for the car pic. Appreciate it. Enjoy the turbocharged prelude. You can watch it like 4 billion times by the time this episode comes out, because it's only 3 minutes long.
6 minutes. Don't shortchange.
I was gonna say 6. I was gonna say 6, and then I said 3. God damn it.
Joe, our last email, this is what I messaged you about. This is not an email to Too Fast. It's an email to Zack Attack, but I need to read this out loud.
Weird, okay.
This is from past writer inner Christine Tran. Subject line, tapping my watch, waiting for Scoob.
Okay.
She says, hello, Joey and Joe. It has to be at least 3 years or more since I last wrote to you guys. I looked and it was May 2018, so a little over 3 years ago. Okay. About 2 years since the latest episode was released. And this is where it gets crazy and amazing. Despite this, I've literally re-listened to this entire podcast from episode 1 of 37 at least several times since then.
There's some glory in Zack Attack.
I'll put it on in the background while I'm playing video games, baking, folding laundry, anything. It's fun and comforting, and it still even makes me smile when I listen. Is that weird?
No, not at all. I like I said, there is some amazing comedic moments of us watching really, really interesting Zac Efron movies and us just laughing together about them and just thoughts that we had. I have lots of joy in some of the moments of Zack Attack. How you've listened to those episodes multiple times, that's questionable.
I also don't think that the best moment we've ever had on air, I think, was in Magic Mike's before that died, was the Ragazzi moment, which
yes,
you guessing what A Guide to Recognizing Your Saints was about was
Yeah.
the funniest thing I've ever recorded on a podcast. I
Thank
don't remember
you.
what episode it was, whatever was before A Guide to Recognizing Your Saints, but that was
This is so good.
that was our peak. That was our best moment.
That was comedically the best moment we've ever had. I think so too.
She says, anyways, down to business. Last year, Zach had a voice in the movie Scoob, and yet, where's the Zach Attack episode? Honestly, I haven't seen a single Fast and Furious movie, but I might just go and binge them all soon just to be able to hear your voices again on Too Fast, Too Forever. Your fan, Christine.
Can you just, like, reply to that email and be like, yes, Chris? Like, you don't even have to listen to the back half of the episodes.
I do think that this email, we should just do Scoob.
For Christine? Yeah, I'm down.
I
Can it just
see...
be like a Christine-centric email, like a Christine-centric episode?
Well, we've done a couple emails over there since we recorded. We did the Beach Bum, so we need to do Scoob. There's a short film called Save Ralph it's about stopping animal testing on rabbits, which he has like one line in, which we don't need to do.
Nah.
But there's Scoob. We could do...
The Netflix
there was
series.
that Human Discovery... Well, there was that Facebook Watch series, Human Discoveries, the animated thing, that I don't know if... Facebook Watch is still a thing. I don't think they're creating new content for it, but we could do that. And then, yes, the Down to Earth Zac Efron.
The Down to Earth thing was good. Imagine... Because Christine's not listening to these episodes. Imagine, she
also won't get to this one for a while, if she does.
If she starts from the beginning, yeah. So, but I'm saying, like... like when it's just like poop and like pops up in her feed, her podcast feed of Scoop, she's gonna be like, "Holy fuck, they read that email," you know? Like,
well, she knows. I mean, she had written in before, and
Yeah.
she knows that we read the emails. We're gonna have to read the emails again on the next Zac Attack because there's been a couple people who have emailed in since that show ended. But
I'm down. Let's just do Scoob next, just for Christine. Can we do that and then we'll go from there?
yeah, sure.
Cool, works for me.
So check
Tell
out
me
Zac
when.
Attack. I mean, again, you say it, I say it every episode. It's the same show. It's a different movie. It's the same show.
It's the same show. That's what I'm trying to. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, email Christine and be like, Christine, I know you might not believe this or not, but like, if you listen to Zac Attack, it's the same fucking show.
We'll just talk to her directly in the next episode. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. When we record Scoob, it'll just be a pitch for her to listen to Too Fast.
Exactly. Yeah.
Perfect. I like it. Okay.
And that's all the emails. Family@cageclub.me or Zac Attack@cageclub.me if you want to, if you want to email that. So.
Yeah. Sure. Apparently, we'll read it here. It's so cool.
We have a store, Too Fast, Too Forever.shop. So if you want to go there, someone bought a T-shirt recently, which was nice.
Oh, nice.
Again,
Cool.
No idea
what
who
T-shirt
it
was it? What T-shirt was it?
Cha-cha-cha, I think.
That's like, dude, that was a really good T-shirt. Good job.
Cha-cha-cha, yeah. On the 23rd, 5 days ago.
Nice.
I don't know
Hopefully
what
they got
size. I don't know what color. I don't know what softness. It was just one T-shirt.
Yeah,
So,
just what? I mean, you got all the good data there. Nice.
one T-shirt. Thank you. Too Fast, Too Forever.shop for that if you want to check that out. Or if you join at like a really crazy high tier on Patreon, you get a free T-shirt. So just do that too instead. Don't even worry about the shop. Just give us lots of money directly. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah,
or don't.
whatever.
Either way. Joe, on the streets, news about the Fast and Furious F9 on VOD on Friday the 30th, which is very soon as we record this. But what else? Anything else of note that you've seen about the Fastiverse?
I've been holding this in for like 15 minutes like I had to pee. I just was watching the Olympics in the background as we're recording, and Dame Helen Mirren was in a L'Oreal anti-aging cream commercial on TV, and that's the Fast and Furious news I have this week.
Cool.
Sorry, that's all I got. I haven't seen any like news or anything. Have you seen any news? Has there been any news?
F9 crossed $600 million worldwide.
I mean, that's not like, yeah, that's news, but not like news. It comes out on VOD Friday. Yeah.
Well, so that's the thing. Like, there's the whole... people are upset that Black Widow... Because Black Widow had I think maybe Marvel's worst ever first week to second week drop-off.
Okay.
Like, it did really well its opening week, and it made a lot of money on Disney Plus too. But the one of the big metrics in movie theaters, in movies in theaters, is what the percentage of like retention. So like in theory, like it goes from like 100, like whatever. It's the first week is always 100%,
to
right?
50
Yeah.
to.
Well, like no, like ideally you want to get to like 80, 90, like where it's like, I mean, that rarely happens, but you want to keep most of the audience, or like in smaller movies. I think the thinking back in the day was that like word of mouth, like I go see a movie like before internet or whatever, and I'm just like, I'm like, Joe, oh my God, you need to go see this movie. And
it's
so
like 20,
I tell
40,
3
80.
friends, yes.
Well,
it always starts at 100%. Like that's where, yes.
Okay.
But Black Widow had like the worst ever drop off from weekend 1 to weekend 2. And they're saying that, it being on Disney Plus hurt, and also it being on VOD, like for piracy and everything, like that hurt too. And so
that, yes.
I don't know, but this is the interesting thing where it's 31, or I think actually probably like close, like 35 days of movie theater exclusivity, and it's gonna be on VOD. And so this, because like by now, unless you're afraid to go to the, not afraid to, but like unless you're either afraid to or don't want to go to the theater for COVID or for whatever reason,
Yep.
people aren't like, this is, nobody's seeing F9 in theaters anymore anyway. Like it's still in theaters, but like I'm pretty sure you go to a screening now, there's gonna be like 4 people there, right?
Total.
This is opening up to a new market, and it's better for like people like us and people like Kara who like don't want to go to the theater, who can watch it on VOD, and it makes more money. So like I think this might be the winning ticket. I don't know.
We're in an interesting place. So they're trying to judge, or like trying to use the metrics to be like, it coming out on Disney Plus hurt it, when in reality it's like everybody that was gonna go see it in a theater felt comfortable enough to do it. It's just a different dynamic with pandemic stuff still happening, right? Like that's, so I don't think that you can take away anything or draw the conclusions that they're trying to draw by the second week drop off. It's not fair.
Right. I think so. Yes.
Because I was so excited to go back to the theater, and I feel comfortable going to the theater, vaccinated, everything. So for me, when a movie comes out, I go see it the first weekend. And I think that the people that go see it the first weekend that are excited about it are the same group of people, and you don't have people that are just like, oh, it's a Friday night, we're high schoolers, we're going to go to a movie because there's nothing to do, as much as you normally do during a normal summer without a pandemic. So
with the CDC now recommending people start wearing masks indoors again in certain circumstances or whatever, I think it might drop off again. But like before the pandemic, and even before like all this change, but like a year or two ago, or 2 or 3 years ago, I'll say, I would see everything in theaters because like I'm not paying more for it. I'm paying the AMC thing or whatever. But like a movie like Snake Eyes, the new G.I. Joe movie, which we watched the first one for Channing, we did not see the second one. I would have seen that in theaters and been bored in theaters. But like I know that it'll be free and legal for me to watch streaming somewhere in
relatively
like 3 or 4
soon.
months. Yeah. And so a movie like that where I'm not going to be like, I don't actually really want to see it, but like I kind of want to see it because it's a new action movie or whatever.
Yep.
I can just wait. But then also, on the other hand, tomorrow night, Thursday night, and then on Saturday, I'm seeing 3. I have tickets for at least 3 movies. So like, there's still like new stuff coming out that I really want to see.
That I want to see immediately.
Yes, correct. Yeah, including The Rock in Jungle Cruise out this weekend.
It looks fun. Yeah, we like Jumanji. It feels like it's The Rock. Yeah, you're right. It's The Rock and anyone doing a kind of Jumanji, a kind of Rampage, a kind of everything movie. So yeah. I'm fine with it. I'm gonna go. Like, I'm not gonna see it in theaters, but I'll see it.
Yeah, exactly. And it'll be on Disney Plus sooner rather than later again, right? So
cool. Yep.
Go support the things in theaters you want to see. Like tomorrow night I'm seeing The Green Knight, which I cannot wait for. Holy shit, I'm so excited for The Green Knight. And then Saturday I'm seeing...
Oh, that's A24 with Slumdog Millionaire, right?
Yes, Dev Patel, yes.
Yes.
And then on Saturday I'm seeing Jungle Cruise and Stillwater with the new Matt Damon movie by Tom McCarthy, who did... Oh god, what's the movie? The journalism movie that I really, really love.
Spotlight?
Oh my god. Yes, Spotlight.
You guys, did you guys just hear that? That was the only time I've ever answered Joey's brain fart.
Yeah.
Can we? That moment needs to be saved in time.
Got to cut it out. Got to cut it out of the box. But the only thing to do before we take a break is do the Too Fast, Too Furious minute 20, a minute I called crazy in a good way.
It's a good title.
Your boy in Monte Carlo?
Yeah, that's him. Yeah, he's got some skills. And he's crazy as hell, I'm telling you. In a good way, though. He's the man for the job.
He's got quite a record, including 3 years upstate. Says here he's on house arrest now. Can't go more than 100 yards from his home.
In this minute, we're at the Demolition Derby. Roman revs his engine and crashes a car through the side barrier. Brian and Bilkins watch the action from the stands and talk about Roman, who continues in the Derby, kicking out his windshield after his car is hit. Roman flips a car, and the crowd cheers as the minute ends. I don't know that I've ever noticed And I think it's especially jarring here in the minute, the like aerial shot to give you the establishment of like where the demolition derby is.
Yes, I haven't either. Yep.
In the minute by minute chunk, it is so weird because it's like literally 1 second of like loud crashing noises and then like silence for 2 seconds while we have like an aerial shot and then we're back in the derby. I'm like, that's so weird.
Yeah, it feels very jarring. Yeah, I agree. I've never noticed that aerial shot that's like where it is. Yep.
I also love, and I'm sure that I've seen, I never really thought about it much, but I love that they show Roman's ankle bracelet, like his house arrest monitor slamming on the gas pedal. Because I'm like, oh, cool, that's a great way to show that like he's under house arrest or whatever. I'm like, this is a very good example of show, don't tell.
I agree.
Where you're saying something about his character instead of like actually having a character say it. And then immediately we go to the crowd and Bilkins is like, so he's under house arrest. It's like, God damn it, you just told us that.
It's like if you looked at your Motorola Razr when you were in the theater and just missed that one little scene. That's what you would have got. They had to remind you. But yes, I agree with you.
And Brian's like, you mean he can't go more than 100 yards from his home? That's right, Brian. That's what house arrest means. It's when a judge orders you to stay at home because you did something bad. And by bad, I mean illegal. It means against the law. Yes, thank you, guys. The only other like real notable thing that I found in this minute is that Bilkins is eating popcorn, which I think, a very Han move, sort of just snacking unnecessarily, kind of just, enjoying, taking in some entertainment and just popping some popcorn. But
on that note,
first minute in a while that you've actually had things because like we're in a different room, a different place, different space.
Cars.
So what did you see here?
A perfect segue is you noticed Bilkins was eating popcorn. I noticed a lot of the crowd was eating popcorn, but the thing I noticed the most, because we're watching this minute by minute many times over, rewind, pause, fast forward.
Sure.
I noticed that Bilkins has a completely different branded bag of popcorn than everybody else in the crowd.
Oh.
Yes. Bilkins' bag says popcorn in red and has stripes. Everybody else's bag says popcorn in blue, and some have stripes and some do. Like, there's either so to think this out, there's at least 2, possibly 3 popcorn vendors at this demolition derby.
Love it.
with like 60 to 100 people in the crowd. There's a popcorn entanglement. There's a war going on between the popcorn vendors at this demolition derby. But Bilkins' bag looks completely different, and I was just laughing about this, like, how? Even in movie planning, how did they buy different bags?
Yeah, I don't know. That's you think that they just like they go to like Party City or whatever and be like, here's the bag of like 100 bags or whatever, right? And they just use that. Yeah.
That's what I would think. Or you just like go to like, they're making a movie, somebody goes to a theater that they know, they're like, can I buy like 100 just, single serving bags of popcorn? No, there's at least 2 different ones, and Bilkins has a very unique one at this thing. Maybe Bilkins packs his own popcorn. He just shows up to the track, but he's like, no, I got the good stuff.
Well, we know that microwaves have, slaps group of microwave. You know what I mean? Like they play a key role in the history of the Fastiverse. So
it's not microwave popcorn though. This is vended popcorn in like
maybe he's microwaving it and then has his own bag and he puts it in the bag to go.
He like curates it and like little ribbon on the top ties it together.
Yeah, why not?
It's like a dash of parm on top, like a little garlic pepper or like a little garlic salt. That was the weirdest thing that I noticed this minute. Other things though, I got a bunch of the cars. I labeled them by number, so if you are a patron and you have access to the document and you want to know what car it is, type in the fucking number and you'll find out what car it is.
We're closing in on 60 pages, by the way, if you have not checked this out, which is crazy. Yeah.
Too much.
Yeah. Oh, there's a phone number, but it's a 555 number, which is, thank you.
Yeah, so this thing is like, so that like backdrop has to be completely just like one piece of wood built for the thing. Yeah. I got a lot of the sign stuffs there. Interesting thing in the crowd, there's one red, yellow, blue, yellow alternating umbrella. Okay. I tried to look it up online. There's a lot of red, yellow, green, blue umbrellas that alternate that way. Not red, yellow, blue, yellow. Ooh, so, just very weird. Coolers. We get a shot of a Corona in this one, which I think is cool. Yeah. That's like all the important, notable stuff that I saw that I thought was fun.
So for the trivia question, I got 2 different questions here. I think they're both good. I don't know if you want to keep one or the other or both. I don't know if we need to keep both, but I have 2 questions. What noteworthy, quote-unquote, animalistic trait does Roman's demolition derby car have, which is teeth on the front fender, painted on the front fender? And then, what we just talked about, what snack is Bilkins eating while he's watching Roman's demolition derby? The answer is popcorn. Do you like one of those? Do you like the other one of those? What do you want to do with question?
I've been giving Joey half-ass answers all day. I'm going to continue with that trend. I think that the first question is better. I think that we can have more fun answers for what is Bilkin eating.
Oh.
Get what I'm saying? Like, I think that
Sure.
To fill this out, I think that we can do better with the second question. I do like the first question better, but I think that it's hard. Like, what are we going to do? Like, cheetah print? You know
Well, yeah, I don't know. Like that, I was gonna do. So my thinking exactly was that I was gonna do 4 answers to the first one because like it feels like a tougher one to come up with on the spot, and I only had 2, and the other one was a shout out to past guest Mark Hoffmeyer and his Deep Blue Sea the podcast with the shark's fin on top of the car. Like that's the only other one I could think of because like I don't know what else. Yeah, like cheetah spots, but like
tiger stripes, whatever. Yeah, it's hard. Yeah.
But the other one, I only have one answer because I figure that would be the one that you would want to give clue or give answers to. So, okay, we'll do what snack is Bilkins eating. So what else could he be eating other than
Trolley neon gummy worms.
Trolley is with an I at the end, right?
Yeah.
Is gummy with an I or gummy with a Y?
I-E, I think.
Oh, they call them trolley squiggles or sour bright crawlers.
Sour bright crawlers, yes.
The original sour gummy worms with a Y.
Yes. Oh, with a Y, okay. We learned something new today, boys and girls.
Oh, also, by the way, I have this tab open. Bilkin says that Roman did 3 years upstate, and I Googled prisons in upstate Florida, and there's the Union Correctional Institution, there's the Lawty Correctional Institution, and there's the Marion Correctional Institution. But I don't know that any of them are the one. Like, we don't know. It just, but like, I feel like upstate Florida is a weird way to describe it, but like, every state has an upstate, so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so popcorn, trolley, neon, gummy, sour bright crawlers.
We need a hot dog.
Okay.
And then something else that would be like something that you would like piece and eat. That's how I picked trolley, gummy, neon, sour gummy crawlers.
Jumbo pretzel.
But I want something that's in pieces.
Pretzel bites.
No, because pretzel bites didn't exist at the time.
They didn't?
No.
Maybe early 2000s was the era of Dippin' Dots ice cream of the future.
Oh, it seems like it's too hot for that.
It's definitely way too hot to have Dippin' Dots.
It's too hot for Dippin' Dots.
That's when the Dippin' Dots just become like a gooey mess. It's just like, this is just
it's
ice
the
cream.
Worst that you do. That's like the worst part. Like when Dippin' Dots becomes regular ice cream, fuck it.
So what's the point of eating Dippin' Dots?
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say.
Potato chips?
Chips. There you go. Yep. Or and can we have the last one that's like he's not eating anything, he's just drinking a beer?
Sure.
Because that's a good throw off. I think that'll confuse me later when I try to answer this question, but I'll remember the popcorn bags.
So minute 20, crazy in a good way. What snack is Bilkins eating while he's watching Roman's demolition derby? A hot dog, popcorn, potato chips, trolley neon gummy, sour bright crawlers, or he's not eating anything, he's drinking a beer. Answer is popcorn.
Perfect.
Well, let's take a break and let's come back and talk about Mad Max Fury Road.
Welcome back to Too Fast, Too Forever. This is episode number 193, Mad Max Furiosa Road. This episode is brought to you by Jacob's Gas. They only sell and install high-quality supplies, and everything they install is backed by their vendors and or manufacturers' warranties. Shout out to Jacob's Gas.
Well, shout out to Jacob's Gas and welcome back to the show. We are talking about Mad Max Fury Road, a movie where Cipher is depicted after the fall. It feels like this is Cipher after the fall of humanity.
You
this
think?
Is her. No, probably not, but maybe. Who knows?
She used the nuclear football and then we're in Fury Road?
Maybe. I also do want to say, in terms of family casting, Rosie Huntington-Whiteley, who was one of the breeders in this movie, and we'll talk about what the plot's about, is Jason Statham's wife. So another sort of family Jason. Yeah. She's the I was going to say she's the pretty one. They're all beautiful. She is the blonde one.
The pregnant one?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I did not know that. That's really cool.
She's only been in like 2 movies. She also replaced Megan Fox the role in the Transformers movie. She's in Transformers 3. But she's like a Victoria's Secret model. Yeah, Yeah.
Damn, go Jason Statham.
Well, that's
Good for him.
Just a beautiful couple. Both of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely gorgeous. In this movie, she plays the splendid Angarad. I don't know how you pronounce that, but it's just, they're all great. I mean, Riley Keough, my girl Riley Keough, is in this movie. She plays a character named Capable, which,
Dude.
Sure. Okay.
Rachel went to go get lunch today. She comes back. I had just watched the scene with Riley Keough and Tony from Skins on top. And Rachel goes, "Oh, look, Riley Keough." And I go, "No,
Wait, who's
it's
Tony
not."
from Skins?
The other guy that's there's 2 guys. There's Tom
Oh,
Hardy
Nux.
and
Okay. Yeah. Nicholas Hoult.
I'm like, "No, that's not Riley Keough." She's like, "It's Riley Keough." I was like, "Is Riley Keough in this movie?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Where?" And she was like, "That one with the red hair." And I was like, "Oh, weird. I did not recognize her." And then, like, as soon as she said it, it was like a switch flipped in my head, and I was like, "Of course that's Riley Keough. What the fuck was I talking about?" Like,
Yeah.
it's so obvious. But until that
Welcome
moment,
to the club of hair blindness, my friend, because she's got very red hair, which she's never had before. And she's also got like a British accent in this, but like, it's very clearly Riley Keough.
it's 100% Riley Keough. But like up until that moment, I did not. She could have been anyone else. So
Of other Riley Keough note in this movie, so they shot this movie in Namibia. I feel like I said it right the first time. I just kind of slurred it, but Namibia. They wanted to shoot it in Australia, but they couldn't get the permits, or there's some issue, or maybe there's weather issue or something. So shot in Namibia, but there are extreme heat and cold weather swings in Namibia. Terrible a lot of the time, apparently.
I'm sure.
And
Yeah.
she caught hypothermia, but good news for Riley Keough, she met her husband, Ben Smith Peterson, who is a stunt performer, and also, I don't know, he either is the Doof Warrior, who is the guitarist, or he's like a stunt guy. He did stunts and acted in this, but like he's either the Doof Warrior or like the stunt double for him or something. But Riley Keough met her husband while filming this movie in the desert, which is cool.
I need to become a stunt coordinator. Is all I have to say to that.
You have a wife.
Yeah, and her name's not Riley Keough.
Shout out Rachel.
Yeah. Who's standing right here with no headphones on, so I'm sure she heard all of that.
Speaking of the stunts, because there's like 200 something bits of trivia. We covered this already once on Watch the Throne. It was me and Mike, and I want to say Jordan and maybe Dan the Duke Hayden, possibly.
That's an all-star lineup right there. Okay.
This was one where everybody's like, "I want to do Fury Road." I'm like, "Yeah, I know you do. I know you do. Everybody loves this movie."
Yeah, of course.
Oh no, it was Chris Podcasts, also former guest of this, and Jordan Pullen Clark. So
Did Chris Podcast like this movie?
of course he did. Everybody likes this movie.
Okay.
We talked about it over there. There's amazing trivia that I sort of just I steered more toward the car stuff.
Please.
But the most important thing here to know is that somewhere between 80 and 90% of what you see on screen was actually practically physically done. That there was CGI in this
Really?
movie. It's mostly the stuff at the base, like where they're showing like the green landscape and stuff like that. That's mostly CGI. But all the car shit, they did that.
You know what? That feels very real because I thought that a lot. The only time that I saw something that I was like, "Oh, this is CGI," is, and I'm thinking about it because you just mentioned the guitar guy, but like he shoots like fire out of the end of the guitar, and that felt like just like the way it like shot. I was like, that feels a little CGI, and like it's dangerous.
No, my friend.
That's
No.
real?
The flame shooting guitarist is Australian artist and musician Sean Hope, better known as Iota. So I don't know Riley Keough's husband, not the Doof Warrior, but he's maybe the stunt double or whatever, but he's stunt and whatever. Anyway.
Okay.
In an interview with Vice, he said the guitar weighed 132 pounds and shot real gas-powered flames, which he controlled using the whammy bar. So that was, once again, practical effects.
Wow. Okay. Then
Yeah.
fuck me, because that was so good that I thought it was CGI. That's how good it was.
So this movie it's the fourth Mad Max. It's kind of a reboot. There's sort of flashes back, but that's apparently from the comic. That's not Max's daughter. There's just another, she's called Glory. I don't know the history of this. Mike is covered on Third Time's a Charm. He is covered Beyond Thunderdome with, I think, Duke and Kara, maybe. We could probably do either the first one or more likely probably the second one, The Road Warrior, on this podcast at some point.
Yes.
What this movie is about is that there is like a settlement that is led by this guy, Immortan Joe. Basically, every man in this movie is evil, and every woman in this movie is good, except for
Yes.
Max, who is a slave, essentially. Tom Hardy plays Max, Max Rogatansky. And then this guy Nux, who is one of the sons, who becomes a good guy by the end. But he's loyal to the cause for a while. But there's this guy, Immortan Joe, who runs this whole commune. He's got these 5 young, beautiful breeders who are the women that he like essentially rapes to have more children. He's got the mothers who are, I guess, were former breeders who like raise and just like they're just harvested. Their milk is harvested. And he, starves all the people, doesn't let them have water. They have more than enough crops, more than enough food and whatever. But he's just, he's a overlord tyrant. The movie starts with Charlize Theron as Imperator Furiosa, who's one of his like right-hand women or whatever. Off to do a run, but they instead are going to, she's made a deal to like trade the gasoline for goods and supplies. That goes wrong. They're pursued.
It doesn't go wrong. She like is sneaking out she's trying to save the breeders, right?
Well, yeah, so they're trying to go to a place where she had been taken from, which people refer to as the green place. There's nothing green there, whatever. But the gasoline thing goes wrong because they're like, you said you were going to have a few people following you. You have 3 war parties on your ass. And so just shit goes wrong. But basically, it's a 2-hour chase, kind of.
2-hour car chase.
The
whole
start
time.
To this end point and then back. And that's just what this movie is.
You know what that reminded me of?
What's that?
Crossroads. Go back to V's house.
I think I say Vanishing Point, because Vanishing Point's, the movie we watch is almost entire car chase, but that is a much more on the nose, for sure.
Where do we go? Back to V's house.
Of course, why not?
V's house.
But yeah, this movie kicks all sorts of ass. It is one of my favorite movies of all time. When I saw this in theaters for the first time, I saw it at the Draft House. So there was the same weekend I saw this, they were having a noir film festival where I spent like $50 or maybe it was $100 or whatever. And I got tickets to 9 classic noir movies in the Alamo Ritz, which is the downtown Alamo, which is now closed. And I would go there and I watch all these movies. And then they emailed, because I was like one of their loyalty rewards members or whatever, like, hey, do you want a free early ticket to see Mad Max Fury Road? George Miller, the director, is going to be there. And also the guy who plays Immortan Joe is going to be there. And I'm like, yeah. Absolutely, I want to.
Yeah,
so, like,
you do.
I skipped 2 of the noir movies, and I'm like, I'm going to go see this thing. So I'm seeing Fury Road, and at the Draft House, I order food, and I literally let the pizza that I order go cold because I don't want to take my eyes off the screen because I don't want to miss a single goddamn frame of this movie.
It's a giant car chase the whole time.
I've never seen anything like it. Past director of this show, we've covered more than one of his movies, Robert Rodriguez, after seeing this at South by, stood up and asked, how the hell did you film that? Because that's
a pretty good compliment. You know what I mean? Like a guy that makes movies goes, how the hell did you film that? That's pretty crazy.
Yes. So the other thing of note is that the woman who edited this is George Miller's wife, a woman named Margaret Sixel, who was a film editor. She had never edited a action film before.
Can't tell.
She had 3 months. It took her 3 months to watch the 470 hours of the footage that they shot, which is just absolutely insane.
Yeah, that's insane.
And she asked George Miller, she's like, why do you want me to do this? And he said, quote, because if a guy did it, it would look like every other action movie.
Very fair.
Good.
Yeah.
And so all that she did was basically edit one of the best action movies ever been made and win an Academy Award for Best Film Editing. Because this won 6 Oscars, nominated for a bunch, won 6. Film editing, costume design, makeup and hair, sound mixing, sound editing, and production design. So all like the technical stuff, it just killed it at the Oscars that year because it deserved every single one of them.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild as fuck.
Had you seen this movie before last night or no?
Yeah.
Or today? Whenever?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely saw it before. I haven't seen it in a long time. We watched it when it came out, and then I think we watched it again. Like, we watched it when it came out, like, as an action movie. I think we watched it again for, like, the Oscar noms to be like, okay, like, let's reabsorb that. And then I don't think I've seen it since then. I remember we really liked it. When we were watching it today, like, when I put it on today to watch for this, Rachel goes, I don't remember anything that this movie's about, but I just remember it being visually stunning. And that's a good way to describe it, I think. Once the movie, like, I couldn't have told you what anything happened in the movie when it started, but as soon as I saw the, like, them pull up to, like, the Citadel, I was like, oh yeah, I know exactly, like, the premise of this movie, what's going on here.
Because it's a very simple movie.
There's really not much happening, and they definitely don't explain a lot to you, but you convey a lot of what's happening.
I just want to, on the Oscars, I'm looking now, so lost visual effects to Ex Machina, which also kicked a whole lot of ass.
Yeah, true.
It lost
it was Best Picture nom, too.
Well, it was. I'm working my way up there. It lost Best Cinematography to The Revenant, which, not a movie that I love, but a movie that looks beautiful, so that's okay.
Fair. Yeah, that's
fair. It lost Best Director. George Miller lost it to Inarritu for The Revenant, and it lost Best Picture, which I thought was going to for sure go to The Revenant, went to Spotlight, my beloved, which you remember, that movie that you remembered earlier, Spotlight.
Thanks for double
that
credit.
won Best Picture. But yeah, it won 6 of the 10 things it was nominated for, and it's just like, oh, this kind of movie shouldn't get nominated, like an action movie like this.
Agree.
But it's like, oh no, it actually deserves it because it's so far above and beyond transcends the genre and what people expect of a movie like this.
This was one that I remember like looking at, like we watched it, I looked at it, the Oscar list right before, or like I was like, the Oscar noms are coming out. One of my coworkers that watches a lot of the same movies that we do that I talk about, he was like, oh man, like I bet Mad Max Fury Road wins a bunch of these Oscars. And it wasn't like the noms weren't even out yet. And I was like, what, you think so? It's just like an action movie. He's like, no dude, Mad Max Fury Road was like one of the best movies last year. And I was like, you really think? And he's like, yeah. And he was 100% right.
Yeah, this is one. So the same year that I saw this, I saw Turbo Kid at South by Southwest, and I loved Turbo Kid. And I was like, this movie rules. This is my favorite movie of the year. Then I saw Mad Max, and I'm like, it's great, but I really still love Turbo Kid. And like I had seen Turbo Kid in March, and then I saw Fury Road, which we could do. Actually, we'll cover Turbo Kid eventually for the show. It'll fit into a different theme down the road.
Okay.
Have you seen Turbo Kid or no?
No, I haven't.
Okay, you'll like Turbo Kid a lot. But then I watched Fury Road, and I'm like, this is amazing, but I think I'd like Turbo Kid better. And then like in December, when I was putting together my movie list, I'm like, let me just watch both. And I watched Turbo Kid, I'm like, this is a delight, I love this. And then I watched Fury Road, and I was like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Like, this is not only like miles ahead of Turbo Kid, but just like, it's the best movie that came out that year. Like, it's fucking incredible. It's incredible. It's an incredible movie.
It is. It's really awesome. I agree. And we were just talking, it's been a while, but there's like another one in production, right? Or like talked about.
So yeah, so the reason we bring it up a lot is because they're doing a prequel, a Furiosa prequel, maybe called Furiosa, where Charlize not in it. People are upset about that, but our girl Anya Taylor-Joy will be in it,
yes.
Which is why I want a Cipher prequel also starring Anya Taylor-Joy, because...
Yes, exactly.
I don't think they're filming it now. Anya Taylor-Joy she posted a thing on Instagram of her like covered in dirt, and she was filming something, and I don't think it was this, because I don't think they're ready to make this yet. But you know, other trivia. So the making of this movie, aside from just the weather, was very difficult. They shot this in order, which is kind of rare, I think.
Yeah, kind of weird.
Everyone, Tom Hardy especially on set, was an asshole.
Really?
Because it was hot and it was cold, and no one really knew what they were making. Like, it was hard because, again, they shot 470 hours. It's so insane. And, like, it's just, like, they were out in the desert just shooting car stuff for, like, months.
This doesn't
like,
make any sense to me. I have a very, like, linear chronological brain. I can never imagine trying to shoot a movie as bits and pieces and then reorganizing it. In my head, every movie that I would have to make would have to be shot chronologically, and I think that it would make the most sense to the cast. Like, imagine making a movie and you're doing like, okay, this is all inside scenes today.
Right. Well, yeah, so generally, I think a lot of movies that are shot chronologically, like the actors get better as it goes on because they understand the characters better. And I mean, like, good actors, you're not gonna be able to tell that, but like, other things you'll know, and like, especially for like movies that have like dramatic things happen to a character, they'll be able to like process that better on screen or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, generally, they're like, okay, Fast and Furious, we're going to shoot all the 1327 scenes today, or not this today, but like this week, these 2 weeks, we're going to shoot all these scenes here because like this is the only time we have this location.
Yep.
Or like Vin Diesel has to go shoot this other thing in 2 weeks, so he can't be here, so we have to do all his scenes first, or whatever.
Yep,
so like, there's all sorts of logistical, and like that production element and like the coordinator of that is all like
that's insane to me.
Mind-boggling. Yes.
I can't figure it out in my brain, but yes.
Here, when you're just like literally in the desert, it's like, well, kind of why not, right? Because it's just you're out there and you're adding stuff with CGI, like with like the storms and stuff like that or whatever. But generally, it's just like, let's just do this in order, right? So yes.
Yeah. They
made 150 cars were built for this film. Only 15 lasted. The other 135 got destroyed, either intentionally or whatever. But 90% of the cars that they made were destroyed, which is pretty funny.
Sense. Yeah. The
gesture made by the War Boys. So the War Boys are all the just the soldiers basically in this army, and that's what Nux is. That's what Skins Boy or whatever you called him before is.
Tony from Skins. Yeah.
the gesture they make, they mesh their fingers together when they're worshiping the V8. So like they're literally making like the V8 cross-stitch pattern or whatever.
Yeah, like the cylinders.
Yeah, they're literally revering and worshiping the power of the engine, or also just like Valhalla or whatever. But it's just kind of cool like that.
That is cool.
The only other small trivia, then I have trivia about the cars, but when the first engine of the war rig breaks down, that's the car that
she's driving,
our main cast is driving, yeah. When it breaks down in the final chase, the sound it makes is the same sound as the Millennium Falcon makes when it breaks down in Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back, which I think is just pretty cool homage, just like a engine
that is cute.
Sputtering down or whatever. So car stuff, and then we can talk about the movie. So the vehicle driven by the bullet farmer, known as the Peacemaker, was the most dangerous and problematic vehicle on set. So if you want to Google image...
Was that Max's car that they stole from him?
No, the Peacemaker is the tank.
Oh, okay.
That the guy who gets blinded is like sniping at them from. So that's the Peacemaker. It was the most dangerous and problematic vehicle on set. It was constructed by mating a ripsaw tank chassis with a Valiant Charger body. Despite extensive development, it still had severe problems with braking and cooling. The original diesel engine was replaced by a water-cooled Merlin V8, which was then replaced by a Chevy 502 V8 when the former was destroyed after ingesting sand on set. They completely redesigned the brake and cooling systems to make it more usable. And like many vehicles in the film, it was crushed after production concluded. So it got killed. But that's a crazy car.
I'm too much of a cheap person to not have the foresight to be like, why don't we save this in a warehouse somewhere so we can like auction it off later when this movie's dope?
Yeah,
like as a prop, like somebody's gonna buy this for like $100,000, right? Like,
I think there's just so many movies that get filmed. It's like, where do we store all this stuff?
Yeah, but like this was
I know. I don't disagree, but I just think that like the practicality of it sometimes is just like, let's just recycle it. Let's crush it down, recycle it, and move on, right?
We just put it at Barstow Speedway outside, just in the
prison
lot.
upstate.
Prison upstate, yeah.
So Immortan Joe's vehicle, the Giga Horse, was fully functional, designed and constructed entirely from scratch. It's stacked coupe de villes, which symbolize the power and status he wields, powered by dual supercharged Chevy 502 V8 engines, the same that was eventually in the Peacemaker above. Linked together by a custom gearbox feeding into an Allison transmission, it produced over 1,200 horsepower and was capable of reaching 75 miles an hour. According to the guy who played Immortan Joe, the vehicle was his favorite on set and could be heard for miles when it was being driven, which is very cool.
That's very cool. That is very, very cool.
And then several of the vehicles, including the War Rig, the Giga Horse, the People Eaters Mercedes-Benz limousine, and the Peacemaker, plus the Doof Wagon, which is the music thing.
Yeah.
They're all left-hand drive. The appearance of left-hand drive vehicles is a first in these movies because the previous films featured only Australian vehicles, which are right-hand drive, including the Max's famous 73 Ford Falcon XB GT V8 Pursuit Special. Jesus, there's so many, aka the Interceptor. And in real life, the Australian states and territories exempt the conversion of left-hand drive vehicles to right-hand drive if the vehicle's over 30 years old. So just like, this is the first time ever in a Mad Max, along with saying driver on the left-hand side is unusual and is new to the franchise. So yeah. But there's a lot more trivia that that doesn't necessarily relate to our podcast. So if you want to go to IMDb and just like scroll through that, there's a ton of crazy stuff that you want to look at. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about Fury Road. I mean, I'm assuming you like this movie, right?
Yeah, of course. Good. I was going to be like, I hated it. No, I really like this movie, and it was interesting watching it this time because of how, like, with Cipher coming back in 9, just like seeing Charlize have a more flushed out, succinct character. I was like, oh man, it made me really excited for more Cipher. Like, I know that you did Watch the Throne. Mm-hmm. I didn't do Watch the Throne with you. So, I mean, like, I like Charlize. I think she's a great actress. I've seen her in a bunch of things, but nowhere near as much as you have. To see her in this versus Cipher in Fast and the Furious, I was like, oh my god, there's so much potential here, right? Like, that's all I kept thinking. Like, if we could just let her run free a little bit, this could be so good.
Well, we talked about the joke that I retweeted about Black Widow, where Florence Pugh made Scarlett Johansson a side character in her own movie. Like, this movie is called Mad Max, but it's the Furiosa movie. Like, they're making a movie called 100%. Furiosa, but it's her movie, it's her story. She's the star.
Yep.
She's got more dialogue. She's got more. Yep. Like, he's just a vessel. Like, he's literally
the
a blood bag,
the
right?
vehicle.
Yes.
Yeah.
She has the emotion. She has like the people. Like, the reason people cry about this movie is because of what she brings to it.
She's definitely driving them again. Another
Yeah. No.
car pun, but she's driving all the action in this for sure.
I also, again, watching it specifically for this podcast, so much of it is about family. And about found family and forced family. There's even a line where I think Immortan Joe says, all this for a family squabble. And it's like, yeah, man.
No, it's the other guy. It's like his lieutenant guy, the guy that goes blind. But yes, I heard this too.
That's what it is. Like, that's why I think, like we were saying in the first half, no other movies have end with barbecues because, like, there's no reason for it. But, like, there's a reason in these movies because it's about family. And that's why the movies feel the way that they feel, because these characters care about one another. This is just like, oh, you have an overlord tyrant leader, and everybody hates him or is afraid of him or is relying upon him or whatever.
Yes.
And so there's a reason why there's, like, hope at the end, because, like, there's people that actually people like in charge.
And care about. And they care about you. And that's the general premise of all Fast and Furious movies, right?
But in the first half, we were talking about oil and Fast and Furious #4, but that's kind of like the tanker heist and just all of Los Bandoleros in the beginning of 4. Like, that's kind of what this movie is.
It's so much that. And even before that, the movie starts out with Max being chained up and he breaks out, which is like a very Dom move, right? Like, how many times have we seen Dom do that? And then, like, he runs through tunnels, and I was like, oh God, like, here's, like, very I get that it's not cars through tunnels, but it's just like kind of rickety, not like, wooden holding the roof up type situation tunnels. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And then it turns into a fucking truck heist movie for the rest of the movie. So it's just flowing through all of this.
In that same structure, this is the next movie, is Fast 5, but there is a giant safe that they crack. Donza Kuduro does not play, but when Immortan Joe opens that safe, I'm just like, ooh, Donza? No.
I didn't even think about the safe.
Living in there, yeah.
But that's his, like, house. Like, he...
Yeah.
Did you see A Quiet Place 2 yet?
No, not yet.
Okay, it just reminded me of that, just seeing that part. And that's not a spoiler, but that's what that reminded me of. There's
also tons of use of Nas in this movie that Charlize and Furiosa hits it entering the storm. Nux does in the storm. She says to Furiosa says to Max, "You're sitting on 2,000 horsepower of nitro boosted war machine." It's like, yeah, like this is like literally a chase powered by Nas.
So much Nas, and I didn't remember. Did you remember that from this movie?
No, I mean, I remembered. I don't remember the Nas, but I remembered the intake where they're spitting gasoline in there to go faster. I remember that because that's insane.
Yeah,
where they have people climbing on the hood to guzzle guzzling basically and spit it in the engine to like make it go faster.
Yeah.
But I did not remember her like literally hitting the Nas, and it's not eject button AC Dom's cool secret whatever that order is. But it's essentially like you see what she's doing and she is priming and then letting it rip, right? Which is
and Nux has a fucking hand, like he has a handle like on your hose spigot. You know what I mean? Like he has that he keeps turning, which Dom does in his car, Brian does, right? Like, so that's crazy too. Yeah.
What is kind of different, though, about, like, Nux's use is that they're all basically trying to die. Like, they're trying to die in the service of Immortan Joe, so, like, they might be a little bit more loosey-goosey with the Nas, because, like, car just might blow up, right? But, like, they're all trying to die on the battlefield, because if they die in battle, they go to Valhalla, they ride shiny and chrome into Valhalla, right? Yes, so...
That is so much fun to me. This movie's just so weird, but it's so much fun to me that to acid trip reimagine Vikings riding horses into Valhalla but in a modern post-apocalyptic world, and it being, you ride shiny and chrome into Valhalla. I'm like, whoever thought that, I want to see in your brain.
So I'm making fun of the trivia because the trivia is like, yeah, fucking of course. But there is this, like, what looks like just, like, silver spray paint. But, like, it's meth or whatever, right? Like, they're just, like, when they're dying to get, like, one more boost of energy, they, like, spray themselves and they're like, witness me. They all say witness and they go do a crazy thing and usually die in the process. And the IMDb trivia is like, well, it looks like this, but it's actually, like, a boost of adrenaline. It's like, yeah, of course it is. Like, you can see, like, they go crazy when they spray this on their face.
Well, the other thing that I kept thinking about was, I don't know if you know this, there was like a period, there probably still is out there, but there's like people like that huff paint, okay?
Sure. There was a Seventh Heaven episode all about that and about the dangers of that.
Yeah, not good. So I always saw this as like a little nod to that because whatever gets you high when you huff paint, the metallic paints, especially like the gold ones, like had the most of this in it for some reason. So like people that would huff paint would always like huff gold paint, and they would have like this, and the way they would do it is like spray it into a bag, put the bag over their mouth, and they would have like a ring of gold paint around their face because like they get all fucked up on gold paint.
Yeah, they're just cutting out the middleman here. There's no bag.
Exactly.
It's just spray right into my lungs, right?
But I mean, like if you're gonna die anyway, it's like why not fucking send it? So yeah, it was. I always imagined it like, oh, this is that like weird huffing hallucinogen. Like right as I'm about to do this to get you like that last boost of courage to be like send you over the edge. So
yeah. One car thing that I saw in this movie that I don't think I'd seen before in another movie is Charlize's engine, Furiosa's engine catches on fire because she's like, don't push it, don't push it, don't push it.
Yes.
Or like they're also like, the interesting, like why this movie works is because she has abducted the breeders. She's abducted Immortan Joe's. Furiosa's taken the 5 brides, the 5 beautiful young women.
Yes.
Trying to just escape with them, like give them a better life. And so he's like, don't kill them. Like he could easily, if they wanted to, they could just blow up the Warbreak and that's the end of that. But she knows that they're not going to blow this thing up because there's going to be no breeders anymore, right? So like it's so effective because they're trying to like basically stop them and kill her or whatever, but not just blow the thing up, which would be easy to do. But then like the grouping that she's trying to like do the guzzling deal with, they don't give a shit. Like she just fucked them over to it. Like not necessarily her fault, but like they don't have their end of the deal. So they're trying to kill her. Yeah. And so like that adds a different kind of tension. But I think it just works. All of it works narratively. But at one point they're throwing explosive shit and her engine is on fire and she drops that like locomotive style, like sand digger into the dirt. And like
the cow.
Yes.
Guard.
Yeah. And it just kicks up all the sand on the dirt and everything onto her engine, like puts the fire out. I'm like, that's so cool.
It's super cool.
I don't know that would work in real life because I feel like the car would just like explode. Like you wouldn't add whatever, but like I'm just like I've never seen that anywhere else. I mean, I've never seen a lot of this anywhere else, but like that feels more doable elsewhere, and I've never seen that done anywhere else.
And it feels practical too, right? Yeah. Like I mean, obviously you don't want like a ton of dirt in your engine, but like in a post-apocalyptic world, the engine's on fire. Like it feels like you're like, oh yeah, that's actually a good idea. Like that makes a lot of sense.
They showed different scenes where they're like literally knocking the dirt out of the engine because like it just gets in there, right?
Yeah. Because everything's dirt and they're just in the fucking desert.
Yep.
There was something like right around that time or before it because she's taking the gasoline through the pass and then blow it up because they're following her so they can't get through. The dictator, the leader guy, has this like kind of monster
Immortan
truck.
Joe 3, if you want to call him that. Oh no, we have a Joe 3. Joe 3 hasn't written it in a while. Joe Reed has not written it in a while, but he's Joe 3 now. Immortan Joe is Joe 3 now. Yeah.
Okay.
You can call him just Joe 3.
Has this like monster truck, and I was thinking, what we don't see in the Fast and the Furious is like we never see any like rock climbing or rock crawling with cars.
Yeah.
And that feels like that's like a big part of car culture.
Well,
like
there is in 7. Dom does go down a mountain, and it's not what happens in here.
Thing.
It's not, but it's as close as we get, I think.
I guess it's like a little too slow. Maybe that's all I can think of. Like why? Because it's like more calculated and slow.
It's not very fast or furious. Yeah.
But like that would be such a cool thing, and like a little subsect of car culture that I think should be included in Fast and the Furious. And I'm just like, why do we never see that?
Because there's also not like a ton of off-roading in the Fast and Furious, but like
there
in
is,
9,
though.
in 9 there is, but there's like it's an open field that there's just slight spoilers for 9, just landmines, right? It's just like but like it's not like aggro craggy, right? Like it's not like
because we're always like, what can they do next? And I think like driving over something like we've driven on ice, we've driven on the mines, like I'm thinking kind of like a not or possibly still on fire lava field, like something kind of rocky, know what I mean, where you need a vehicle like over that might be really interesting.
Yeah, I feel like everybody wants them to go to space, and they finally went. It's not really spoiled because it's in the trailer. They went to space, but like go inside a volcano. Like, they're like, volcanoes are insane. Just go inside a volcano. Go, I'm just thinking like the Pokemon Snap course, the volcano course. Just do that, right? But in a car.
Right.
Yeah.
Why were you thinking about Pokemon Snap? Did you play the new one?
I did play the new one. The new one's fine, but I'm just thinking of the original one, like Volcano. There's the volcano one.
I remember that. People love Pokemon Snap. I was not like a huge fan of it.
I loved it. The new one's good, but the new one it just slows things down too much. Like all the things that you should have unlocked from the beginning, like you have to like unlock like different ways to interact with stuff. It's just give me the tools. Like let me have fun. So whatever.
Yeah, apples and Pokeballs and all that stuff. Yeah.
You don't have all that from the beginning. It's just like you have to go. It takes a while to unlock the stuff, or like just the speed boost. It's good if you have a Switch, play it. But it's the original, the N64 one's better. So I'll just leave it at that. What I also love about this movie is that there are just things that like are not explained. Like they drive through at night, that like sort of deserty oasis kind of thing, and like there's just these dudes that like look like birds on stilts. Yeah. And it's just like, we don't know what those are. That's just they have a whole story that we just don't even know about. And it's like, what the fuck is going on here?
I was thinking that a lot in this movie. Like, it felt very different to me when I was watching, because I was like, okay, what are those weird bird things? And like every other movie would be like, those are the guys that never left here. And you'd be like, okay, cool, those are the guys that never left here. Nothing. Not a word from fucking any of them. They're just like, here's a weird thing that you saw, not talking about it.
And that, I think, is why this movie also works, is because they don't explain things. Like, at one point, Max says to Nux, he's like, you have black thumb? He's like, yeah. He's like, I get under there. And, like, you just pick up, like, oh, he's just, like, an engine dude or whatever.
Yeah, like a mechanic. It's like their slang for grease monkey or something. Mm-hmm. Yep.
But they don't explain, like, black thumb. Like, you went to school for black thumbing? Like, you're good with engines, right? Or whatever. He's like, you're black thumb. He's like, yeah, get under there. Whatever, right? So...
Which feels so much different than Fast and the Furious, because everything in Fast and the Furious, like we were just saying, the
ankle bracelet and everything.
He's on house arrest. Oh, he's on house arrest? He has an ankle bracelet on? Yeah.
In this world, all, like, the dozens of people in this movie...
know what these things mean.
Yes, they've lived here their entire lives. Like, they've lived... they're all post-apocalyptic babies, basically, right? Like, they're all born into this life. Like, they're not going to be like, wait, what are you? Like, tell me about your life. It's just like, no, everybody just knows the shit. They don't want to talk about it. Like, they're all miserable, right? So just say the thing and move on with it, right? So, yeah.
And in real life, we don't talk like that either. Like, how many times do we, like, explain something? Like, you don't explain common shit in real life. When I'm talking to you, I'm not like, yeah, a black thumb? Do you mean he's a mechanic in old speak?
Also, you were saying, the Vikings thing, like, it's so cool and so insane and so dumb that there is in this fleet, this war fleet, just a vehicle where a guy has all these speakers and he's just like the Doof Warrior and he's just playing the music, right? Like, it just, but that's like this, like the halberd, yeah, the trumpet guy, right? Exactly. But this is just like, how do we make that like punk rock basically, or like whatever, or just metal? And it's just like, oh, he's got a 130-pound guitar that shoots flames and is just in front of a wall of speakers. And like,
it
is, I think maybe more than anything else, like the image that I think of when I think of this movie, because it's just like, who thought, like, why? Like, I'm so thankful. I'm so grateful.
I want to see into that guy's brain. Yeah.
Why?
Somebody thought that, said it out loud, and somebody else was like, you know what? We can do that. And like that guy, I want to talk to that guy too. The guy that was like, that's a crazy idea. Let's fucking do it. Not like a guy, like, I want that guy on my team, because how many times do I say something real dumb to you and you're like, yeah, we're not doing that. But like, I need the guy that's like, let's fucking try it. And you're like, what?
Also, like, just like the riff that he plays, it's just so cool. Like, the score is great, but like the actual, like, what he's adding with like the string, like the guitar sounds, it's so cool, and it's so like, it just increases the suspense and the tension and all of it. And it's just, again, I don't know why, but thank you. Just thank you for having the Doof Warrior in there.
I was thinking about this. There's a part later in the movie, and Charlize is just, like, walking towards the camera or something like that, or just, like, looking into the camera. And it has, like, a very, like, old-timey kind of score feel. Like, it's, like, a lot of horns or something. And it just felt like it was scored like an older movie, like, as opposed to a more orchestral new movie. And I was like, that's a good choice. It's one of those things, we talk about this a lot. Like, the score is one of those things you don't, like, if you don't notice it, that's usually a good sign. If you do notice it, that's either really great or really awful. Right. And that was the point where I noticed it, and I was like, this is really great.
I also do want to point out, I think I did not take a lot of notes for this because I just wanted to enjoy it, and I just did. Yeah. But It has one of the maybe 3 best thumbs up in movies.
Which one?
There's the Terminator 2 thumbs up. There's one in The Guest, which I will not spoil, but fan favorite Garrett Smith, as I now need to refer to him. He'll know what I'm talking about in The Guest. But in this movie, what's super cool is like the breeders are depicted as like utterly helpless, right? Like they're just like these small, frail girls who, like, literally girls. Like the one of them, Courtney Eaton, was like in her mid-teens, like not even like of age, just like 15 or 16 when they were filming. Like literally very young women. But they're still like, there's at one point where they're going to shoot Furiosa, and I think it might be Rosie Huntington Whiteley or someone. I think it's her, because I think the pregnant breeder opens the door and uses her body as a shield because she knows, and Morton Joe's not going to let them take the shot because like she's more valuable than anything else, right?
Yeah, because she's pregnant.
Like, they're given power and strength to these movies, like very small actions or whatever. And I love that. But at one point, you know, she does fall. There's stuff going on, and she like, it looks like she falls out of the car and like, you know, falls to her death. And like Max, like in a panic, looks out, and she's like hanging onto the side of the truck, and he just like looks and then looks back and looks back again and just like gives a very slight thumbs up. And it's
in the
cool.
mirror too. Yeah.
Then she falls off and does die. But like, because it just, you know, thumbs up and then tragedy. But it's so cool. Because like a thumbs up is just whatever. But like in this, it's just like, nice, good job.
It seems like his reaction, because he's also not very chatty, so
because he's a grumpy asshole who like comes around, and apparently originally in the end he was going to be on that thing going up with all of them, and then Tom Hardy I think was like, Max would never do that. Like he's not ready for that yet. Like he's just you know, he's just a roamer, he's an outsider, he's a warrior, whatever, right? And so he just kind of walks away. Yeah, Gaijin, exactly. He just nods to Charlize and just, you know, goes on his way, right? So
yep.
Anything else about this movie? Other fast connections? Anything else you want to point out? Again, I don't think it's streaming for free anywhere. Go watch this. It's genuinely one of the best action movies that's ever been made. One of the best movies of the last decade. Beautiful to look at.
Yeah. I was debating today if I should watch the black and chrome edition, but I always get so disappointed by movies in black and white. Have you ever seen the black and chrome edition of this?
I bought it. I have it. I have not watched it yet. I was going to think, but like the visuals and like there's stuff on IMDb. There's stuff on IMDb about like it was originally conceived in black and white, and the studio was like, I think we should do it in color. Like I think black and white is going to off-put people. Also, what's cool about this is that they had made R-rated and PG-13 rated cuts, and the studio was like, let's go with the R. Like, it went with, like, the more... Which never happens,
yeah.
Yeah, which never happens, because R-rated movies make less money. I haven't seen black and chrome. I did watch Parasite in black and white, which Bong Joon-ho said he just did because, like, classic movies are all in black and white. He wanted to make one, which is just super
funny. Was it better or worse?
It's still great, but I also think that movie looks beautiful, too, so I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
this is what I'm trying to say.
I think it's the kind of thing, like, I will watch it one day in black and white. I'm glad that I can, but like if I watch it 10 times, I'll probably watch it in color like 9 of those times, right?
That's what I think too. Okay. I wanted to make sure like I wasn't making a bad choice. If anybody's seen it in black and white and it's like, it's so much better, then I would listen to them, but like I don't get that feel from it.
I think it's just a different feel. Like, you know, Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League being in black and white is a different thing, but I think that works. You know, Logan has Logan Noir, which I haven't seen that, but I also think I own that. Like, there's just a bunch of movies that
I turned on Logan Noir for like 5 minutes, and I was just like, cool, give me color. Like, they do so well with color in movies nowadays and cameras, and this movie is so nicely colored, too. You know what I mean? Like, it just fits the feel and the aesthetic and the vibe of what this movie is conveying. And, like, there's so many times that, like, something's, like, completely blue and everybody's tinged in blue that I feel like it would actually lose something being in black and white.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, go on IMDb, either you or listener, and just like, you know, look for black and white versus color, because the way that they shot and like saturated, like the nighttime scenes they shot during the day and just like completely fucked with the film in certain ways. So like all the color choices are very intentional with intent, filmed with intent. So just go check out IMDb for all that kind of stuff. But any other thoughts about Fury Road?
Yeah, I have a couple more fast connections.
Okay.
When Max first meets the caravan and he sees the wives for the first time, they have a very Rock Dom type fight because Charlize is wielding the bolt cutters, like they're, like he goes cut the chains off, and she's like wielding the bolt cutters, and just felt very much like a pipe wrench, like just like the way it swings, the size of it, and everything compared to her, the heft of it, and I was like, oh, this feels very familiar, and there's like a lot of like ground rolling and like missing, and stuff like that. So I thought that was cool.
Also, that fight is brutal. For like I don't know many better fights in a movie between a man and a woman than that one. Like that's just,
Yes.
It's awesome.
I agree. One of the other last Fast Actions I had, there's like harpoon guns in this. And we see Tej make the harpoon gun, and I was like, oh, very Fast and Furious of them.
That Roman accidentally shoots. Yeah.
Exactly. I think that's the last of my Fast and Furious notes.
You want to watch the trailer?
I will. Yes.
So this is Mad Max Fury Road official main trailer HD. There's also the theatrical trailer, which we're not going to watch. This is posted by Warner Brothers Pictures, March 31st, 2015. 34 million views, 2 minutes and 31 seconds.
I am ready whenever you are, my brother.
All right. 3, 2, 1, play. Him running through the tunnels. This is the Mexican tunnels equivalent, right?
Yeah. And they're just working on the car. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. One thing we've not seen in a Fast and Furious movie, which we could theoretically, is the kill switch that Charlize, that Furiosa, creates in her car, right?
That's right. We don't even have like a fingerprint reader to like drive the car or something weird that we could do. Well, the guns in Hobbs and Shaw.
Right.
That's as close as we got.
But like other movies do that so much more prominently, right? Like with the biometrics and stuff.
Yep. The road.
Yeah, there's redheaded Riley Keough, just like blonde Natalie Portman.
Yeah.
Which, if people don't remember, when you watched, was it Song to Song? You're like, who's that blonde Natalie Portman? I'm like, you mean Natalie Portman?
Yeah. I was like, who the fuck is blonde Natalie Portman in this? Yeah, these action scenes are so cool. The dudes on the poles, too, like, they haven't shown that yet, but those guys are really cool. I also liked her chastity belt with the teeth on it. I thought that was pretty neat. What a lovely day! Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, the chastity belt is, like, that's, like, fucking oppressive, right? You know what I mean? So...
No, I just thought the design of it and, like, the future, you know what I mean? The, like...
Oh, no, 100%.
Yeah.
I also do want to say that to give these characters more agency, they brought in, for I think at least a week, if not a little bit longer, Eve Ensler, who wrote the vagina monologues, but she came and, like, did a pass on the script to, like, give the breeders and the other women, like, everybody just more agency and more ownership and stuff. So
that's
it worked,
very cool.
because I think, for a bunch of characters who could be portrayed as very helpless, like, they're badass by the end of the movie. So
yes, and they take care of themselves. Like the movie, even Charlize is like, you guys can't do this, and they're like, no, we fucking got it. You know what I mean?
Because, I mean, the other thing to keep in mind is that not only them, but, like, everybody in this hellscape has been through so much, right? That, like, just surviving requires so much effort. There's a thumbs up very, very briefly.
The bullet farm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See it in 3D. Which, there was, at the end, I think the very end of the movie... There was one crash where, like, the things came at the screen and just, like, this is dumb. Like, that did not
The wheel, the wheel can't... The steering wheel comes at the screen, and at that moment I go, was this movie in 3D? And it shouldn't have been. Like, that was the first thought that came through my mind. Because it's, like, one of those, like, very obvious 3D shots, and you're just like, God, no, please tell me that wasn't in 3D.
But there wasn't a lot like that, which is again...
No, there's not.
It's good. It works.
But you know when you see those some shots that you're just like, okay, we get it. Yeah, there's 3D parts in this movie. Cool. Thanks.
Okay, the letterbox game. So, for reference sake, Mad Max Fury Road, one of the most popular films in Letterboxd, has been seen by, oh wait, can't say it. But today's movie, Mad Max Fury Road 2015, directed by George Miller, starring Tom Hardy, Charlize Theron, and Nicholas Hoult, has been seen by how many people?
Oh, this is a tough one, only because I need to remember what, like, the latest number was. I'm gonna go 787,000.
Too low.
Did we cross 800 at some point?
Yeah.
832,000?
Too low.
900,000? Did we cross 900,000 at some point?
854,000 people. 854,000 people. Out of those 854,000, how many have it in their top 4 of all time?
Oh, this is going to be a fuck ton.
And it's such a large number that they just round the shit out of it.
12,000.
12,000, exactly. Yep.
Damn!
Yep.
Pretty good guess, huh?
So we're going to
Wow.
do Rachel Calderon Navarro, Rachel CN on Letterboxd, because she is my only friend on Letterboxd who has this movie in her top 4. Because I'm like,
that's
I'm not
good.
going to look through 12,000 of these people. I'm going to go to Rachel. Rachel was a co-host on Real Bad, which is a podcast on the Cage Club Podcast Network about
Yes,
bad
she
movies.
was. Yeah.
She was a occasional, frequent, often, not every episode because they had like a rotating panel, but she was on a lot of the episodes of that with Nick Jenkins as the host. So go check that out. But Rachel has Mad Max Fury Road as her favorite movie of all time.
Okay.
Her fourth favorite movie of all time is a movie called Supermarket Woman, which I've never heard of and I don't know anything about. And I'm
Nope.
like, I'm not even going to get you to guess it.
Nope.
But her number 2 and number 3 movie are both from the early 2000s, between 2001 and 2004. One in 2001, one in 2004. They're both very similar, and they both strongly, heavily feature a manic pixie dream girl, which if people don't know, that was a phrase coined by the AV Club. A character in that who like makes generally the male protagonist live life to the fullest. That like, oh yes, by falling in love, by meeting you, I now know what love is and life is, and you've taught me to be a better person.
And she's quirky and fun
yes.
and cute.
So one explicitly manic pixie dream girl, the other one just kind of has that type. I love both these movies.
I'm sure you do.
One of which you've made fun of me for liking before. Not that you don't like it, but it's a very common movie in this type of movie.
Oh, this
But they're also
is-
both like widely considered to be like great movies.
It's not Eternal Sunshine is one of them.
That's number 3. Spotless Mind. See, like it's exactly. Whoa, that's in 26,000 people's top 4. Holy shit!
Jesus
Double this.
Christ.
793,000 people have that.
That feels letterboxy.
Although I will say that the people I follow on Letterboxd, a lot of them gave that really good ratings. But a lot of, like, I say the most common 4.5 on Fury Road. Almost everybody I follow is a 5. I'm like, if you don't like Fury Road, just get the fuck out.
Yeah.
So the other one is French. I will say it's French. I wouldn't be surprised if you've seen this, but I also don't know if you've seen this.
I can see a little girl with black hair on the poster, and it's kind of greenish looking.
Yeah, it's that. I mean, she's not a little girl. She's like 25 or something. Amélie.
Amelie. Yep, that's exactly
La
what I was
Fabuleux
thinking. Yep.
Destin d'Amélie Poulain. Yes, but yeah, so Fury Road, Amélie, Eternal Sunshine, and Supermarket Woman.
Eternal Sunshine. Good. We got there, and you gave me some pretty vague clues to get the first 2, like, off the jump, I think.
I also didn't realize until I was logging this on Letterboxd, like, oh yeah, this is the movie we use as a reference.
I didn't either. I was just gonna say that, like, when you said Mad Max Fury Road, I was like, oh fuck, we actually watched it now.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
Yep.
I thought that you had known this joke was gonna happen, but you played it really well.
No, I thought about it. No, I thought about it last night.
Okay.
But it just still, I was like, oh, yeah, I can't give you a baseline, but also like it's a number that like I say literally every episode. So
Yeah, I was gonna be close.
Yep.
Very close. Yeah.
So next week we are doing the movie that we thought we were going to do this week. We're doing F9, our third gear. This is with Cara Gala Regan. She's going to be watching it with us. She's going to be watching it on VOD. So next week we're doing F9. And then also next week, we're going to be recording a bonus episode for Patreon, which we have not announced yet, which we might announce. I guess we'll announce on...
I don't even know what it is. And I looked at the schedule sheet that Joey makes for me today. I didn't even read down to figure out what it was.
It's a movie we've talked about on Facebook recently.
I'm sure we have.
That I don't know if you're going to like or not. The director has So there's 2 movies at Cannes that are related to this in one way or another. One by the director, one sort of thematically. But yeah, this is a movie this is one I'm genuinely not sure if you're going to love or hate or fall somewhere in between. We're going to have a guest on that. I think the resident historian Mike Manzi will be on that episode with us. Our Patreon bonus. But we'll talk about that more next week.
I'm going to pretend like we haven't talked to him in a while, but we've talked to him a lot lately. But I was thinking, remember we were like, oh, Mike, we haven't had you on in a while. He was like, I was here like 2 weeks ago. I was like, oh, yeah, that's right.
No, actually it was in reverse. He's like, I haven't been here in a while. Like, you were here like 3 weeks ago. It's like, but yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
For all things Too Fast, Too Forever, you're going to cageclub.me, facebook.com/TooFastTooForever, or at TooFastTooForever on Twitter and Instagram. Email us, family@cageclub.me. Check out our store. Patreon page at TooFastTooForever.com. Our store at TooFastTooForever.shop. Cha-cha-cha.
Buy a shirt. Joey won't know who bought it or what size or anything. All he'll know is which one you bought. So
yeah, go do those things. Come back next week for F9, third gear, when we are joined once again by Cara. as we continue our march through this lab and get everyone who's watched all the movies with us to talk about F9, because that's just how we're doing this. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe too.
And we'll tell you all about it
when we see you